Welcome to the video where I'm going to go through and talk about head drainage. Now, like I do in all the other videos, I'm going to give you a little bit of who this would benefit and why before we go through it. Reason being, if you're anything like me, when I understand why I should do something, I'm going to be way more likely to do it. And if I'm more likely to do it, I'm going to get better results, which is exactly why I'm doing these videos, is I want you to get the best results physically possible. All right, so head drainage. Our lymphatic system is called the lymphatic system pretty much everywhere in our body except for our brain. Our brain has a very specific system called the glymphatic system. And the glymphatic system literally drains our brain. It's pretty cool. But here's the thing, it will only drain at night while we're sleeping. So for some of us, if we're not getting adequate sleep, this is me telling you, make sure you are prioritizing sleep, because if you don't, what's going to happen is your brain's not going to drain and you're ultimately like recirculating waste products within your brain. And our brain is literally the master controller. It tells the rest of our body what to do. So if our brain is swimming in a swampy pond versus a crystal clear lake, the rest of our body is going to function very differently, meaning if it's in a swampy pond, we're going to have less than adequate communication everywhere else, versus crystal clear, the communication is going to be amazing. So what we're going to do is, if you are somebody that suffers from headaches, if you have brain fog, if you have sinus congestion, if you have anything associated with brain function, maybe not performing the way that you would like it to, this video is for you. So we're going to go step by step on what to do. We're going to start, as always, with decongesting our termini. Our termini is literally where everything, all of our lymphatic fluid drains, whether it's from our toes, from our brain, from our breast tissue, from our internal organs, it all drains above the collarbone. Now, what you need to know is the right side of your head and neck is going to drain into the right termini, which is the right side of your collarbone. And the left side is going to drain into the left side. When we're working with the head and neck, we're going to be moving or influencing the fluid down towards our collarbones. Now, you're going to want to do anywhere between 10 and 50 pumps to clear your termini. Reason being, we want to make sure that our collarbones have the lowest pressure. This is what's going to ultimately create that like suction or that vacuum, which is going to pull and suction fluid towards our clavicle so that it can return to the circulatory system and ultimately get recirculated. From our clavicles, what we are then going to do is we are going to do our tonsillar nodes. Now, if you don't know how to find these, what you're going to do is you're going to go find the video on how to find your tonsillar node. Now, I'm doing both at the same time. Reason being, I can. If you are somebody who has limited range of motion, or maybe, one side hurts more than the other, you can absolutely do one side and then you can go and do the other. That is perfectly fine and totally normal. But you want to make sure that you are going to do anywhere between 10 and 50 pumps in order to clear the tonsillar nodes. Now, why? Reason being, the tonsillar nodes, and this goes, if you've had them removed, you still want to do this. Because our tonsillar nodes, it's not like one node, it's more like a cluster of tissue. And there is the potential that some of those nodes were left behind. So we still want to make sure we clear it. Now, our tonsillar nodes, though, act kind of like an hourglass. So you know how an hourglass comes down? Well, that cinch point in the middle is our tonsillar nodes. And if they are congested, none of the sand from the top part is going to drain down, meaning all of that fluid in our head is going to stay there if we do not properly clear our tonsillar nodes. The next we're going to clear is the front and back of our ears. So I like to do Spock hands, and that way I'm covering both front and back at the same time. Now again, I'm going to do both sides at the same time because it's faster, and the more you practice it, the easier it gets. You can see that I'm not like pulling all the way down. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm literally just tractioning the skin down, and you're going to do anywhere between 10 and 50 on both sides. Now, when you're working on your head, do not be surprised if you start to feel the sensation to swallow or sneeze or cough. or your ears clear. Usually this means that you're starting to get fluid to drain, which is a good thing. Like right now, my nose is starting to clear a little bit. So it's always good to have some tissues around when you're doing this, especially in the beginning. After the ears, what we're gonna do is we're going to go and do the occipital. So I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna show you what that looks like. There's very few nodes that we work on that are behind us, and this is one of them. So the occipital is ultimately the base of our skull, and we're clearing all of the nodes from the back or from our skull. This seriously is one of my favorite ones. I'm gonna turn sideways. This one just feels so good. And the reason it feels so good is we have such tight muscles in the back from looking down and forward. I don't know, do you guys do this? Probably, or this. Maybe just a little. This one feels so good. And you can see that as we do this, all of the muscles will loosen up too. Now, I particularly like doing this one any time of the day when I'm starting to feel maybe a little brain foggy, things are taking longer than they should, if I'm feeling a little tired, or if I'm not sleeping well at night. So if that's you, I definitely would be doing this, because what it's gonna do is it's gonna help relax those muscles, not to mention help support lymphatic drainage of your brain. Now, after we go through all the way up, remember, I like to come down. It just ensures that we get full drainage, that everything's going and clearing. So we're gonna go back to the ears. When you go back down, you can do fewer pumps. Then to the tonsillar. Might make you yawn too, which is okay. And after the tonsillar, we finish by clearing our termini. I'd love it if you guys gave this a try. Go through, up and down, and then let me know the differences, or let me know how it feels, or the improvements that you experience as you do this routine. Now remember, it is gonna take time, so consistency is key. Usually one and done isn't quite how it works, but the more consistent you are, the better the results you're gonna get. And if you're anything like me, you will have clearer congestion, meaning less sinus congestion, less brain fog, more energy, better thinking, and even better sleep. Thanks for being here, and happy draining.